No last-minute Christmas shopping here. You guys are gifts unto yourselves. The Sunday Roundtable is ready to go. We're joined by Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Rob Gray. It's great to see you guys. So, Gabe Amos sat in that chair. Reaction. Give me some reaction, please. I'm curious. It's a new face. It's a new voice in Congress.
So I've known Gabe for a while, for many years. And Gabe Amo has worked for two presidents, worked for Gina Raimondo when she was governor, now Secretary of Commerce. He worked for Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. He won a special election to Congress with a field of 12, outspent, outgunned, one of the best campaigns I've seen in a long time. And he's 36.
Yeah.
So his best days are in front of him, and he is exactly the kind of candidate and person you want in Congress, with a different experience, different background, boots on the ground, has lived it all, and now brings all of this to Congress. Rhode Island's very lucky.
And he's still a young man, Rob.
He is. I think he's an effective communicator. You know, where he goes in Rhode Island, obviously he could go much higher. I think it will probably depend on what his voting record is like. Rhode Island's a bit of a moderate state, even though it's a blue state. So we'll see how he votes in Congress. That'll determine where he goes.
He's definitely voted more on the moderate side, ran as a moderate. I think people remember after he won, it's like, is this a playbook for Biden? His colleagues, Seth Magazine, are certainly more on the progressive side. So they've differed on a couple of votes already.
All right. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu has formally apologized for the actions of the city during the Charles Stewart case in 1989 and 1990s. She apologized to the two men wrongly arrested and the Black community. Here is some of what she said.
I am so sorry for what you endured. What was done to you was unjust, unfair, racist, and wrong.
The apology came after an extensive review of the case by the Boston Globe and an HBO documentary. How significant was this apology? Rob, let's start with you.
I mean, I think it was mainly a political stunt to get publicity for Wu, kind of playing into the attention this is getting from the media. I mean, it happened 35 years ago. So it's interesting to me. Essentially, she's calling out Ray Flynn, who was the liberal mayor at the time, for not publicly apologizing. He apologized privately. Interesting politics with Flynn's son now on the city council.
What do you think, Marianne?
Imagine if this had been done 4 decades ago. This apology was 4 decades in the making. Imagine what the city would look like, how it would have been viewed differently across the country and across the state as being racist. Imagine the athletes that would have come here and played for teams and how different that would be. Or people would have come to work here or go to school here who did not do that. And most of all, imagine how different Alan Swanson and Willie Bennett's life would be if that apology had been made publicly. Ray Flynn's many things, liberal isn't one. He definitely apologized privately. He should have done it publicly. That would have been a game changer.
What did Adrian Walker of the Globe call that apology? He said the barest. Adrian Walker said it was the barest.
But it's just interesting, I think, Wu. So, I mean, in her making the public apologies, she's not only condemning Flynn, she's condemning Tom Menino. She's condemning Marty Walsh.
All the people who haven't done it.
None of whom did it. And you also wonder, is the governor going to apologize now because there were state investigators involved? We'll
forgive
see.
the insensitive nature of this question, but the timing. Why was it done in the immediate aftermath of the last episode that aired on HBO versus the second she was sworn into office, for example, if she felt compelled to do it?
Smartest time to do it is on the heels of this, because if she hadn't, everyone here and every other media outlet would be condemning her every day for not doing it. If she had done it before, the same thing would have happened. So as you guys know better than I ever will, every reporter loves it when they put a story out there and then something happens because of it.
But
this is no different.
But that's the point. She did it because it was in the media. There was no new reporting in the media.
Not true.
This was just a restatement of what happened in the past.
There is new information in that series, 100%.
I didn't see it.
Did you read it?
Sure did.
Okay. There is.
Perfect. Governor Healy now saying it will take $1 billion, with a B, billion, to cover the cost of the state's emergency shelter system in the months ahead. The migrant crisis only growing. Rob, will 2024 finally force a reckoning for dealing with immigration both on a state and a national level?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the taxpayers are really on the hook in Massachusetts now for this. Our Democratic delegation and the governor are therefore now on the hook to be more openly critical of Joe Biden and his border policies. That's really the only way to control it. Otherwise, it's a blank check from Massachusetts voters, and $1 billion is no small blank check.
$1 billion.
Right. I mean, ultimately, this is a federal issue. It has to be addressed that way. In the meantime, I think Maura Healey and every other governor is doing the best they can to try to manage this and do it. But what you really need is Republicans in Congress to do something about it. I mean, they're acting, as always, like the arsonist at the fire. They start the fire, stand there and say, why is the house burning? So there needs to be a bigger effort in immigration. I think when everyone comes back from the holidays, Congress will finally get on it, but we'll see.
Well, you know, it also sets up a battle for the state legislature. The governor is asking for nearly $1 billion, and it took months for the legislature to even approve $250 million.
That's right, and she wants to spend surplus funds on it. Surplus funds aren't repeatable the following year. It's not clear that this is a temporary expense because the borders are open right now.
Before we go to break, I want to talk about Donald Trump. Colorado Supreme Court has taken Donald Trump off the primary ballot in that state. He's off for now. The court ruled that he was part of an insurrection against the government under the 14th Amendment, so that means ineligible to hold office in the eyes of that court. The Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, may indeed have the final say. Marianne, what do you think is going to happen?
God, what a guess, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, the fact is this is a legal question, not a political question, but it's become politicized already. The legal question here is, did Donald Trump participate in an insurrection? I would argue in January 6th he did. If that is indeed the case, then he is disqualified from running. But does that mean the Supreme Court's going to have that finding? Who knows?
What do you think, Rob?
I'll play legal analyst. I think that it was a 4-3 split decision.
Mm-hmm.
All Democratic justices in Colorado, but 4-3 split decision. The Chief Justice had a scathing attack on it. I think the Supreme Court probably reverses it 9-0.
9-0.
No, it won't be 9-0.